there seems to be a mismatch between our ambition and our capabilities. I mean, if you look at it, the three areas that we talked about, we have this ambition, let's do Far East, but we go slowly on it. We have this ambition of being an Indian Ocean power, but our Navy falls short of it. We want to do trade, but we are hesitant. We always have this, we haven't overcome the hesitations of history. Maybe there weren't hesitations earlier if you looked at, what do we need to do? Is it time now, as you said earlier, an Indian Ocean Union? Is it time to have a multidisciplinary maritime organization that actually which India heads? Where do we need to take the initiative, and what do we need to do in the years ahead?
I would say there is no longer any hesitation.
Okay.
You are right. We used to be called a very reticent and hesitant nation when it comes to dealing with our neighbors and all that. But that hesitation is no longer there. But whether we have that required, deep pocket is the question. I mean, it's all about how you support the countries in the region. Almost majority of the countries in the region are developing countries. Their needs, economic needs, their trade needs, their other needs are quite a substantial burden. If India wants to, I'll give you one example. India offered certain amount of aid to Bangladesh. Naturally, we are neighbors, we always help each other, we extended it. Less than 1 year, China stepped in, offered 3 times more aid. Now, can we do that? Can we compete in that way? That challenge will remain. But one very good thing is, all these countries are very comfortable dealing with India. The reason is, we are not just maritime neighbors or land neighbors. We have a long historical, civilizational, cultural bond that connects Indonesia to Saudi Arabia. I mean, there was this talk that Arab sailors, traders came to Kerala coast. They did not come only to Kerala coast. They went further down to Indochina, the Bali, all these islands. So we are all connected through history, through civilization, through our religions, through our cultures. That makes India a good soft power.
But without money, we have a problem.
So states like Kerala should help us,
But coming to another issue, okay, we have seen China, an aggressive China, and that is not restrained to our border. We have seen, as you said, China has extended its jurisdiction right across to the Indian Ocean, Pakistan, Djibouti, all these countries that we mentioned earlier, Lanka, and even Bangladesh, they've done that. What do we need to do to counter China? One of the things, let's ask that, and then I'll come to the next question.
Yes, China has been a strategic challenge to India for actually many decades now. It has tried to encircle us, that so-called string of pearls. The ports that they built were all around us. They basically tried to cripple Indian Navy from its ability to operate in the high seas by building ports all around us. It continues to be a challenge, and unlike us, they have deep pockets. We do not know whatever, but they are able to attract countries into sort of whether you call it debt diplomacy or debt trap. So that continues to put a lot of pressure on India. As we talk, the Chinese are already building railroads into many of our neighboring countries. They built railroads into Thailand, they are building railroads into Laos, they are building railroad into Vietnam, they are building railroad into Nepal, in our neighborhood. So they are aggressively courting or cultivating India's neighborhood or Indian Ocean neighborhood. Therein definitely lies a strategic challenge to India. Because in the long term, we are rivals in this region. We should become friends, ideally, but that's not the situation at the moment.
One of the things is that we thought by having military and other strategic relations with America, the US would come and we could be combining our forces. But it seems the US is doing its own thing. It is now becoming, Indian Ocean is becoming, rather than a India, China, US playground, it is becoming US-China playground. And there is this, what they call the Goldilocks phenomenon. We want US to some amount, but we don't want them to take ports and do their own thing. They're going independently of us. How do we handle this situation now?
Okay, in a globalized world, obviously we can't say that this is my region, you don't come in, obviously. And countries like America are big countries, they have their own strategic interests, they do undertake their own activities, they do have their own mission, their own targets and all that. But we always tell our American friends one thing. This we convey to them privately, also sometimes in conferences, whether they like fully or not. We say that, you see, when it comes to India's neighborhood, which country is more trusted? If I may ask a frank question, is it India or US? You put it to a test in the neighborhood. I mean, you ask Vietnam, you ask other countries, you ask any country in the region, they will immediately say India. Because there is a history. Because of that history, India commands more respect. So, ideally, because India and USA share many things, ideologically, perception-wise, we are all committed to building strong, democratic and free world. India should get the front-line role when it comes to dealing with neighborhood at least. So the US should actually think that India, here is India, which is ready to sail with me. Why not allow India's views to prevail? Sometimes that doesn't happen, unfortunately.